Dube. I know I pronounced that.
Today?
I pronounced that wrong. You can go ahead and introduce yourself and pronounce it like it should be. And he's going to be talking about his submission in South Festival. So, hi, go ahead, introduce yourself properly
Hi,
because I did that so bad.
it's okay. And nice to meet you. Thank you. My name is Mlingani Dube, Mli Dube for short. That's how everyone, well, I go by that most of the time. And I'm a South African filmmaker, videographer, and photographer. I always mention that too because that's what introduced me to filmmaking as a whole. And the project that I'm here about into the South African Independent Film Festival is a short film called Songs About My Mother.
Okay, tell us about it. It's beautiful, and I think definitely something that people should, people that have got passes, people that haven't check it out. Tell us a little bit about your film.
Okay, so this film is a project that I've been very reluctant to tell people the synopsis because I just feel like just get into it, right? But if you must know, it's a story about morality and guilt. That's what it's centered about around, and it's about a musician who struggles with connecting to our audiences in her performances, and we find out later that that is because of the death of her mother and how she was the main suspect in her own mother's murder. And ever
Okay,
since that
don't give us too
happened,
much. Don't give us too much because I
sure,
think like don't give us too
yes,
much.
yes. So
But
let me
yeah,
hold back a few of those cards. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but keep going because I mean it's a beautiful story. But yeah,
sure.
keep going.
Okay, so
Give us
yeah,
a few more clues.
so I suppose the main thing from what I haven't mentioned is that it's now an internal journey about this character, Zoo, the musician, about, well, what is this thing that audiences are lacking from what I'm lacking with connecting to audiences from what they know and who the real me is. And I suppose there's an identity thing that happens there within the main character.
Okay. And it sounds very, is this something personal? Like it sounds like a very personal project to you. Is that
It
just based
is.
on the storyline coming from something in someone's life, or is that just because it's a project that was special to your heart for whatever other
It is.
reason?
So I'll tell you what actually birthed this whole film was I was going through something in my life. I'll just call it something. And within that I realized how at times with how we just we we convince ourselves of our own narratives and sometimes not realize that we have become the villain in whatever's happening. But the villain always has their side and their justifications to the story. So I wanted to make a film about the villain and their side to the story and them realizing that, oh no, I'm the bad guy here. And them just like owning that and trying to be better, but also realizing why they're the villain, why they become the bad person. So what I was going through is that I was going through a thing where I felt like I was so angry at somebody, and then I realized, no, I'm wrong, and I've been
Preach,
the
brother.
villain in
It's
this
not
story this
Sunday,
whole
but preach.
time. Right? And
Yeah, facts.
we need to have those sessions, those introspective sessions with ourselves when you at fault, and geez, sometimes we can be the villain, but that doesn't define who you are. That's this thing that you've going through, this path, and how you come out of it. That will define whether you are characteristically a villain or you went through a part of your life where you said, I dropped the ball, I messed up.
I mean, I think it's a beautiful idea, and I mean, no, definitely, in a lot of movies, in a lot of storylines, we just get this villain, but people aren't born villains. I would like to think
Yes.
so. It's really nice where you go into the story and bring out the humanity of the villain and show us what made her the way she is. So I think that was really smartly done. So tell us, have you been in the industry for a long time?
Mm, I don't know if I would call it long. So I've been a videographer for starting around 2012, right? And with that, and doing a corporate video and filming news, I especially news, I met a lot of people, and they had real life personal stories, and I was meeting new people every day filming news, and I really wanted to tell these stories more creatively and more openly.
Mhm.
It's outside of the constraints that news gives you. You could only stick to certain things, and also news is a bit gloom and dark, and a lot of the time the end result wasn't really optimistic. And I wanted to be able to tell stories where things do get better or can get better, and there is a light side to it. And so I wrote a couple of things, and I was lucky enough to that was done. It was getting picked up, so I thought maybe I can add filmmaker to my title, and that started happening for me. So with that music background, the first professional film that I made was based on a true story, and it was about a woman who was trying to protect her daughter from being raped and killed the rapist, and that's a true story, and this happened, and this woman was arrested for killing her daughter's rapist. So I mean,
Some deep content,
what
yeah.
should it right? So exactly. So then that's the first thing that I made, and then it picked up, and I thought, okay, cool. I suppose maybe I don't always have to tell things that are based on a true story. Um, well, based on a true story like that, but they can be true even if they are fiction.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the real life, and the real world isn't pretty, so there's nothing wrong with showcasing and showing
Mm.
that. Um, what are some of the challenges that you face so far as a filmmaker, as an African filmmaker in the industry? What are some of the challenges that you feel that you faced being independent?
So I think it's really hard getting. Well, personally, I think it was very hard getting my by the world, and it it really should be easier now in this day and time, and how interconnected we are, and globalization and everything being virtual, and we all just a click of a button away from each other. But I still, well, people naturally want to watch things that are close to them in terms of the characters they relate to and things like that. Um, but I'm also careful of making that a personal goal, because then I'll just write things that I don't relate to, just to reach those people. And I suppose maybe the thing that will come up a lot with this question is funds to make films. But for me, in my personal experience, it's not really the funds to make the film, because of how I learned making films. We learned making films of nothing. So you give me 5 rand, I'll make a play, right? But
I need to talk to
definitely.
you after this then.
but but it's getting films, making films that make money, that
Yeah.
that I find difficult, and I have a lot to learn about. And the business of film as a whole is something that I really find difficult figuring out, and figuring out people, figuring out markets, how to market it, finding the right people.
I
It's
think you've
very,
touched on something that's a prominent problem or factor with a lot of independent filmmakers, writers, musicians is because we're creatives, we want to create, and we
yeah,
get sucked into the creation part, which is amazing. But
yeah,
we then fail to see that this is still a business. So
yeah,
you still have to understand the business aspect, and you have to understand how to get your work out. And that's why
yeah,
with the festival we try to create something for independent filmmakers where we were like, we can't do all the work for you, but at least
yeah,
we want to help in creating a platform where independent people can somewhat get their stuff seen. And obviously, as we're
yeah,
growing, the platform's going to get bigger. But I think that
yeah,
that's a very, very important thing that you touched on. A lot of people actually haven't spoken about that. That, yeah,
yeah.
you've got your work done, you've got a beautiful little project you've created, but now what? How do you get it seen?
Yes,
You
yes,
know, obviously, I
yes.
mean, you would then agree with me that festivals are obviously very important. Getting involved in
They
festivals is
are.
crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this has been. I've thought about this for a long time and I haven't figured it out. But with this project, I sort of thought to myself that I'm going to do the marketing for my first feature before I make it. So I made this film as, in fact, I looked at if you know about Whiplash and how Whiplash was made, and it was a 20-minute short film, and then went to the feature. But they already had the whole idea, and the whole thing was that they made the short film a scene from the feature. And I thought, I love that strategy, and I
A
love
lot
the
of people
fact that
actually do
people get
that.
to know. You see, so and that's how I've based songs about my mother. So I've already thought about the feature film, which is songs about my people, with the same characters, and we've made a platform and we built a website for it where the trailer is and that whole thing, just to get people to know and interact and connect with the story and the characters and the themes that we deal with, which we'll expand on. We're not going to make if you watch this film, know that we're expanding on this, especially if you like it. If you like it and you watch the feature, you'll like the feature. We're not gonna
I think that's
alienate
great. That's such a
you.
great
Yeah,
mindset to have, and so positive. And I just want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your submission. So now we know that we can look
yeah.
forward to a
Mhm.
feature. You gave us a little surprise there, so thanks for that.
Yay.
And I love your energy. Keep that same energy, moving forward. And I wish you the best of luck in what you're doing.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I love what you guys are doing, and I want to encourage everyone to please watch Songs About My Mother at the South African Independent Film Festival. We will grab your heart and all the other emotions that are inside that box you call a heart.
And on that note, you've done my job for me in closing, so I can just say bye.
Yay!
Thank you. Okay, have a lovely
Thank you so
evening.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, it doesn't want to let us